students. Today we'll deal with next chapter, transpiration. Now let us see what is transpiration. Transpiration is loss of water from the aerial parts of the plant. Aerial parts, that means the leaves, the stem or any other part except the roots, which is above the ground. So transpiration is basically the loss of water from the aerial parts of the plants in the form of water vapor. In your book, you'll get these two experiments. You can see it in your book. First one, I'll deal with demonstration of transpiration. In the first experiment, you can see that there is a potted plant over which a polythene bag is covered. We'll cover the aerial parts of the plant, potted plant, with the polythene bag, and after some time we will see that the plant gives off water vapor, and this water vapor condenses over the inner surface of the polythene bag. This shows that transpiration occurs through the aerial parts of the plant. In this next experiment, you will see in your book that there are 3 bell jars kept, inside which A, B, C, 3 of setups name A, B, C, under which A and B have the 2 potted plants, while C is used as a control setup. In A, there is a simple potted plant kept and over to which a bell jar is given. And in second experiment, we will see a potted plant inside which a cobalt chloride paper, which is of blue color, is kept. We'll see what happens in that. And in C number, this setup is given, which is a control method. It is a control experiment under which the blue cobalt chloride paper is kept. This, which is coming as a pink color, this was earlier after some time we will see that in number A, that the inner wall of the bell jar will contain condensed water vapor inside that, while in second experiment we will see that this cobalt chloride paper, which was earlier of blue color, will turn into pink color due to absorption of the water vapor coming out of this plant, and C will remain same as blue. So this demonstrates that what transpiration occurred from the aerial parts of the plant. You read from your book for your further reference. We know that water cycle occurs in the nature, and out of this, lot of rain which is brought about on the surface of the earth is due to transpiration. Others are evaporation, condensation, and this all. So transpiration is also giving a major part of the water in the form of water vapor to the water cycle. Now let us see how many types of transpiration are present. There are 3 types of transpiration present: lenticular, cuticular, and stomatal transpiration. Out of these 3, the major transpiration occurs through the stomata, which is known as the stomatal transpiration, and 3 to 10% is contributed by the cuticular transpiration, which is through the cuticle, and 0.1% that is contributed by the lenticular transpiration, that is through the lenticels. Now let us study this in detail. The first one, that is cuticular transpiration. Cuticular transpiration is the loss of water in the form of water vapor through the cuticle and is known as the cuticular transpiration. You can see on the leaves, this cuticle is present generally on the leaves on the upper surface, and you can see small droplets of water. These were coming out through the cuticle of the plant, and this transpiration is known as the cuticular transpiration. The second type is lenticular transpiration. In this, there is loss of water in the form of water vapor through the lenticels. You have seen that lenticels occurs in fruits. The small dotted like structure over the surface of pear or apple, when you will see, you will get the lenticels. Those are lenticels are first of all small pores which are present on fruits or on woody stems, and they contribute about 1 to 5% of the total water loss by the plant. And this transpiration is known as the lenticular transpiration. The third one is the stomatal transpiration, and it is the major transpiration which contributes almost more than 90% or 80 to 90% of the total water loss by the transpiration. Stomata are minute pores which are confined to the epidermis of the green shoot and leaves. Epidermis is the surface. You have learned in the tissues that epidermal layer, that is the outer layer present on the leaves or on the green shoots. It is the outermost layer of the plant cell of the plants. The opening and closing of stomata are controlled by the guard cell, and the water loss which takes place through this stomata is known as the stomatal transpiration, and it occurs through the stomatal openings. Here I am showing you the typical structure of the stomata. You can see this is the stomatal pores and it is surrounded by two guard cells. So these were about the different types of transpiration: stomatal, cuticular and lenticular. Now we'll study about the mechanism of transpiration. How does a transpiration occur? This is the structure through which stomatal transpiration takes place. Two guard cells. In between this hollow space is known as the stroma, through which the water vapor comes out. You can see on the guard cells there are nucleus and chloroplast present, and this is the epidermal cell, that is the outer layer of the leaf. Now we'll discuss something about the stoma. A stoma is basically surrounded by two guard shaped cells, you can see over here, and the number of stomata in each of the leaves, it may result from 1000 to 10,000 per cm cube. Now we'll deal with the mechanism of stomatal transpiration. See, stomata, I'm just reading out the points and then I'll explain. The surface of spongy mesophyll cells in a leaf are exposed to the intercellular spaces, and the water vapor saturates the air in the intercellular spaces and diffuses into connecting intercellular spaces and reaches into the substomatal space. Now I'll show you with the help of a diagram and then I'll explain you the mechanism. Just see it. You know that water enters inside the plant, in the xylem of the plant, through the absorption by roots by the process of osmosis, and it reaches to the veins. Veins are present inside and it reaches to all the cells. Suppose this is a cross section of a typical dicot leaf, and here the arrow will show you how the transpiration is taking place. See, the upper portion of this is known as a cuticle, and then comes the epidermis. There are two types of cells present in the mesophyll cell. One is palisade, you can see it over here, and another one is spongy parenchyma. Two types of cells are present. Palisade, there is no intercellular space present in between, and what happens, the water gets inside from the vein and it reaches to all cells. Cell by cell it transfers and it goes to all the cells. After that, from the xylem and phloem it goes to all the cells from inside, and from the xylem it goes to all the cells, and what happens, it goes and it fills inside all the cells, and after that, when the cells are unable to accommodate more of the water, they ooze out the water in this intercellular space, which is air space written in here. They diffuse out the water in this intercellular space, and what happens through the diffusion, the process of diffusion, the stomata open in the daytime, and this water in the form of water vapor comes out through this stomatal pore. They come out through this stomatal pore. So this was basically the mechanism of the stomatal transpiration. Now we'll see what are the major things which regulates the opening of this guard cells. The guard cell open and this water vapor from this intercellular space comes out. Now we will see what is the process behind the opening and closing of the guard cell. The mechanism of opening and closing of the guard cell is not mentioned in your syllabus. Just two theories are present there. You just read it and then you can ask me the question later on. Now, when the water comes out in the intercellular spaces, it is through a pressure known as turgor pressure, which you have learned in the previous class about turgor pressure. That is the pressure exerted by the cell contents towards the cell wall, and it forces the some of the water to come out of the cell wall into the intercellular spaces, and this water comes into the intercellular spaces and then it reaches to the stomatal opening, and the opening the guard cells open and the stoma releases out the water in the form of it diffuses the water in the form of water vapor through the stomata.